Okay, welcome to Drawing with Miss Liberty, sketching. Today we're going to draw this cute little teddy bear in a field of tulips. Sorry, the baby crying is distracting me. In a field of tulips. We're going to do yellow tulips with a blue sky. And what I'm going to go over with you today is how to sketch this. So, hi Mom. So instead of me sending you this outline to color in, you're going to draw it yourself. So I want to start off by introducing you to the materials for today. It's a pretty limited color palette. We're using color pencils today. If you have them, please use them. You can also use markers for this project. We're covering most of the page, so you're going to use a lot of coloring material. So I have blue, I have green, I have yellow, I have light brown, and I have dark brown. So the browns are for our teddy bear, his belly, his muzzle, and his skin. The green and the yellow are for our tulips and our tulip leaves and grass, and the blue is for our sky. I also have a felt tip marker. That's what I use to outline all of this. And I have a pencil for doing all my sketching. Preferably use a lightweight pencil. I'm just using a mechanical pencil right now because since we're sketching, we're going to have lines that we want to erase before we do our outlining and our coloring. I also have an eraser for doing that erasing, and I have plenty of paper. And if you have a sketchbook, I recommend doing this in your sketchbook first. So I have lots of paper. So I'm going to go ahead and take our final piece right here. I'm going to do a little cheat. You guys can do this too if you ever need to redo a drawing you've done before. Just go ahead and put it behind your original image and you can kind of see it. You can kind of see it through. So I'm gonna cheat a little bit so that my new drawing looks as close to my old drawing as I can get it. So go ahead and get your pencils out. Start with your pencils. We're going to do the same as we did with doing the root beer, is we're going to divide the page up. So we're going to go ahead and make a light line. You probably can't see my line. I'm going to make a light line across the center of the page going horizontally and a line down the center of the page going vertically. And this is how we're going to figure out how we're going to lay out our page, because we want our subject to be in the middle of the page and we want the focus to be in the center of our subject. We're going to go ahead and decide where our horizon line is. For my image, I went ahead and put the horizon line a little bit above halfway up the page. So here I'm going to make another line. That's going to be my horizon line. You guys can barely see it, but it goes across right here, which is above my center line. Okay, so that's my horizon line. Now, we're using symmetry in today's image, so one side of the bear is going to be similar to the other side of the bear. So we're going to use circles and try to balance them on this center line. So we want it the same on that side as this side. So we're balancing on this center line. So I'm going to start by making like a medium-sized circle that's kind of going to go down to the halfway mark, but won't take up the whole top. And you're going to draw lightly because you're going to get as close to a good circle as you can. So go over it a few times, but stay light. And then that's going to be the bear's head. And now I'm going to do the bear's body, which is going to be bigger, wider at the bottom than it is at the top. So you're kind of going to make an egg shape that's going to overlap with this circle. And I try to make it as symmetrical as possible, but if you can see, mine isn't perfect. Yours shouldn't be either. So I've got a circle up top and then an egg on the bottom. And next I'm going to give my bear some ears. So I could do a circle up here and a circle right here. We're going to give the bear some feet, and we're going to use some ellipses, so some angled circles on the feet down here. So we're going to put one here. And we want the feet and the rear end of the bear to sit on the same level. So we're going to make another sketch line that's going to go across from the foot to the bottom of the bear's behind, and then the other foot is going to rest on the same line. And we want it to be as symmetrical as possible. So you try to make your circles the same size and the same distance. We're sketching, so if you went too far away, you can move it a little bit closer because you're just going to erase that after we do the outline. So that's where his feet are going to go. We're also going to give him some hands that are going to grab his belly. You can't see me, I'm grabbing my belly. And we're going to do some circles that overlap the body and rest on the foot. So like that. See, it's resting on the foot, but it's overlapping the body. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. See, my foot needs to get a little bit closer to the body. Okay, see that? So you should have circle for the head, egg for the body, 2 circles for the ears, circles for the hands, and some ellipses for the feet. Now we're going to connect all these parts together in order to make the bear's body. So his shoulder's going to come out, his arm's going to come out from his shoulder, which is where his head meets his body. So we're just going to connect that with a curved line to our hand. You see how I did that right there? And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So there. See how it kind of makes a 6 and a backward 6? Very good if you did that. So also we're going to do the feet. So the feet, we're going to do a curved line that's going to go this way, but it's going to curve into the bottom and curve into the bottom and connect to the bottom of the ellipse. So right there. And so the foot would go around the ellipse right there. Okay, so next we're going to do the bear's legs. So we're going to go from the top of the ellipse down into the groin area. So you're going to go like that. Don't worry about these lines overlapping. We're going to fix them when we go in with the marker. Remember, you should be sketching lightly. You only see mine as dark so that you can see it. And we're going to do the same thing to the other side. There we go. We're going to give him some thumbs. So right here, I'm just going to do a little bump to give him a thumb. He's got a little thumb. My bears have thumbs. Bears don't, I don't know if they have thumbs, but my bears have thumbs. All right, so we're going to do the bear's muzzle, which is another circle, which is going to go a little bit higher than halfway up the face, or about halfway. That's another circle. The circle like that. Then we got a nose, which you can make a pebble nose or you can make a triangle nose. I'm going to do a pebble nose on this one. Go ahead and erase that egg line in there. You don't need those lines anymore. And they're blocking us from doing the mouth. All right, and then for the mouth, you could just do a curve here and a curve there. And then that'll be our bear's mouth. We need to give him eyes, which will be 2 little circles above the muzzle. So we'll do a circle here and a circle there, and we'll give him pupils. He's going to be looking over here, so I'm going to put his pupils up and over, because I'm going to put a sun over there. All right. So we basically have our sketch of our bear. We'll add all the details in a little bit later, but first we're going to put in our tulips. So our tulips are doing an interesting thing. We're showing that the tulips are in front of the bear and the tulips are in the back of the bear. And that gives an interesting sense of, sorry about that, gives it an interesting sense of perspective and makes the space more interesting. So we're going to do that. And to do that, we're going to sketch the shape of our tulips first. So a tulip, if I can get my sketch paper, a tulip is a U with some zigzags on it. And so to get our U, what we're going to do is to get a nice round bottom, we're going to do a circle. And then on the top of the circle, we're going to put some zigzags on the top and come down like that. So to figure out where our tulips are going to go in the beginning is we're going to start by making some big circles. So we're going to do 4 of them on the bottom. So do just underneath the bear, you're going to sketch 4 big circles that are going to take up all this space right here. Sorry for the alerts on my phone. I guess I didn't turn the volume off. So we've got 4 big circles. So we've got 4 circles. So those are going to be our 4 tulips on the bottom. So we have 4 tulips there, and we're going to do 5 more tulips in front of the bear. And these are going to go right in front of them. So you're going to draw 5 big circles. These circles are going to be a little bit smaller than the ones in the front, but they're going to go in between. You see how I'm going in between the bigger ones. So, all right. So those are all the tulips that are going in front of our bear. Next, we have the tulips that are going behind our bear. So we can't see some of them because they're behind the bear, but we know where to put them because we're putting them between the tulips that are in front of them. So if I have 2 tulips here in front, then I'm going to have 1 here. So they make a little triangle. So we're going to make slightly smaller than the last ones. And so I know I have 2 tulips here, so one's going to go here. And there's an imaginary one over here, imaginary one over here. And the next level of tulips, I'm going to put, there's an imaginary tulip here and one here, so I'm going to put one right here. A little bit smaller than the last ones. I'm going to put one in between here. Same thing over here. And like that. So you're kind of creating, grab some more scratch paper. You're creating a pattern. So we started with 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you can't see them, but we did 6 the next time. And then the next time you can't see them because they're behind the bear, but we did 7. And then for the back row, because we're using some detail perspective, you're not even going to see the bottom of the tulips. You're just going to see the top of them. So we're just going to do a zigzag all the way across the top. Remember, you're using your sketching hand because we're going to go over this all in marker later. But for the background, you could just do that. So in detail perspective, all you see is the detail up front, and as you get to the back, it kind of fades away. All right, so we're going to go ahead and turn our circles into tulips. So you're going to go part of the way up the circle, the other part, and then at the top, do a zigzag like that, almost like a cracked egg. And then you do it to the next one. Don't worry about going over your bear drawing because these are in front of the bear, so you're going to erase the bear's lines afterwards. So do part of the circle. They don't have to be perfect circles. See, mine are a little crooked because tulips aren't perfect circles. We're just using the shape. We did that one. So then the 5 in front of the bear, those you'd be able to see. It can get confusing when it overlaps a lot. That's why I want you to draw lightly, because otherwise it's hard to see what you're supposed to be drawing or coloring. All right, so now we're getting to the point to where the bear is in front of the tulip. So we're going to wait to do those until we're done outlining. All right. So let's go ahead and start with our felt marker. This is the first time we're working in layers, so I usually have you use the felt marker at the very end, but today we're going to use the marker after doing some drawing and then do some more drawing and use the marker again. So we're going to start with our bear. We're going to outline the parts of our bear that we won't need to erase. So I'm going to start with the outside of the ears. So you're just going to do the outside of the ears, not the inside. And pick whatever lines you like the best. If you sketched, you always pick the best one. Now we're going to do the bottom of the head. So that's where the ears connect to the other ear. We're going to do the top of the head where the ear connects to the other ear there. And we're also going to do the muzzle, so you can come all the way around here. We got the muzzle. We could do the nose. Just the outline, don't color anything in. And we could do the mouth. We could do the eyes. Remember, we did a circle for the eyes, and then we did the pupil that was looking in that direction. So we do that again. All right, we're going to do his shoulder, which his hand is going to go behind his foot, so we have to stop. Or do you want the hand to go in front of the foot? How did I do it last time? I did the hand behind the feet, so the hand's going to stop where it touches the foot. So we're going to come out, and I'm going to stop when I touch the foot. And I'm going to do the inside of the hand, and I'm going to stop where it touches the foot. And then I'm going to do the lines for his belly. That's just a line right there because his shoulder connects over there. Do the other shoulder. So you're going to go all the way down until it touches the foot because it goes behind the foot so you won't see it. Do the hand and then the hand. I'm going to stop where it touches the foot and then do a line right here. So next I'm going to do his feet. Be really careful when you come down to do the feet. Remember, the feet are behind these flowers, so you have to stop making your lines when you get to the flower. So I'm going to do this leg over here. It's going to come out, and then it's going to come into that flower right there, and I'm going to stop. And then I'm going to go behind the flower, and I'm not going to do these lines down here because I'm going to fill them with green. But I will do this one over here. Then we do the other side. Let's see if it's behind the flower, you don't see it. And then just this little line there. So we're not going to do the bottom because it's going to be covered with flowers and grass. So that's our bear. Now we're going to do the rest of the tulips in the background because now you can see where the bear is so you won't confuse your drawings. So go ahead and put your marker away. Grab your pencil back and let's finish putting the crowns or the zigzags on these tulips. So this is a tulip you're going to see. 2, 3. This is the edge of one, so you'll only see one side of the zigzag. Same thing here. It's behind the bear. Do the zigzag. Do the zigzag. There's one here. And one here. One there. And then for these, just where the point goes up, go ahead and make a little circle and attach it to the other one. So it goes boop, 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 boop. And then just do it again and again. You see kind of what's going on back here? It's making a pattern. But because it's in the back of our space, it's not going to have that much detail to it. All right, next we could put our sun and clouds. I decided to make it a not very cloudy day, but some clouds in the sky. So you could either make big fluffy clouds. I like to make my clouds flat on the bottom and then have the fluffs all on the top. So there's one of my clouds, and I'm going to put my sun behind that cloud. Use your sketching hands, and I'm going to put a group of clouds back here, like 2 on top of each other, and those will be my clouds there. All right, so let's add a little bit of leaves. So to add to my pattern, I'm going to put leaves in the back of them, and to do that, I'm going to have my tulips. So you have tulips here. So in between every tulip will be the top of a leaf. So like that. So you do a top of a leaf in between every tulip. So these 2 tulips here, we'll do the top of a leaf there. And those ones there. And these ones there. Do the top of a leaf. And this just makes our pattern more interesting. It gives a better rhythm. We'll do that. All right, time to work on your teddy bear. So we have to do the inside of the teddy bear's ears, which is the same curve as the outside of the ear, just on the inside. Same on the other side. We're going to give him some eyebrows, which makes him look happier, some expression. We're going to give him some color on his belly, so we're just going to come make a line like that. We got to close his feet up here so I can give him some toes. Give him some toes on the bottom. Close his feet up there. Now this one goes behind the tulip, so be careful when you're over there. And then give him some color there and there. So now we can get our markers back out. So grab your marker, and now let's start doing our tulips in the magic marker. So just outline the lines that you like. Just ignore the lines you don't like because we're just going to erase them. Hopefully you used your sketching hand today, and it'll be easy for you to erase your practice lines. If not, remember, I showed you guys how to cheat today. If you mess up and you need to start over, just put your piece behind your other piece and you can go over the top of it. So just continue outlining. There's so many lines in today's project. That's why I want you guys to do the felt marker outline now instead of coloring first and then using the marker, because it's hard to see what exactly you're coloring or outlining because there's so many lines. But it'll all come together once we finish adding color to it. Until then, it's just a coloring book page, really. And then remember here, it's just zigzag, 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 zigzag. Now, interesting how we made our horizon line, very interesting. And then just curve that way, and that way, that way, that way, that way, that way, that way, that way. You have to do it where the points go up. That way, that way. That way, that way. And we can close them at the bottom. You can't see those. Okay. So we're going to add our little leaves. And you can kind of make a brush stroke like that. Because we're just going to color the whole thing that's not yellow green. So these are just marks to suggest that there's something there. We're going to add some more detail to our tulips that are the closest to us, so you can see the petals behind. So add a little diamond shape in here where the zigzag comes down. We're going to do it for the second row of them too. This is what's going to make them stand out ahead of the other ones. And we're just going to do it for the 2 rows in the front. Okay, so next let's do our teddy bear light colored parts. So I'm going to go ahead and outline the inside of the ear. We're going to give him the eyebrows. We're going to do the little light colors on his belly and his arm. I'm going to do his feet. You can color those in now. Can't really see those ones back there. Don't worry about that. Okie dokie. And I didn't outline the sky in this piece because the focus is supposed to be on the bear and his flowers. So we're just going to use color on the background. Okay, so grab that eraser and erase everything but the sky because you're still gonna color that in. So all the lines behind the bear's head, all the lines in his face. Be careful to your paper though. Be nicer to it than I am. The lines behind all the flowers. Those can all go away. Oop, be nicer to your paper than I am. I should be gentle. Now coloring will coloring will cover up some of these lines. So don't worry too much about it. Ugh, don't do what I'm doing. Be nicer to your paper. I'm just being impatient. If you guys take your time, this won't happen. Okay, so we got all that taken care of. So next it's up to some coloring. So I'm going to go ahead and start out by coloring my tulips because that's going to be a lot of yellow. So since we already outlined everything with black marker, you don't have to be that careful when you're coloring in, unless you're using crayons, because crayons will go over the black marker. So go ahead and start by coloring all your tulips yellow. And I recommend going lightly with your coloring pencils so that you don't use a lot of your lead, because my yellow is pretty bright without me pressing too hard. I'm going to go ahead and do one side first and then do the other side. It already looks pretty good, right? You even color those little triangles you added earlier, little diamonds. Okay, starting to run out of yellow. I'm going to keep on trucking along. Don't color your leaves yellow, just color your tulips yellow. And if you wanted to use red and make red tulips or purple tulips or magenta tulips, you can go ahead and do that. I just chose yellow because I was feeling yellow today, but like happy yellow because the sun is out and it's nice and warm. So I wanted to do a nice pretty blue sky yellow tulip day for you guys. I'm coming over and I'm doing the other side. And don't be discouraged if your lines aren't perfect or you messed up this tulip or that tulip. Because we used a pattern, what's really interesting about patterns is it's really more difficult to see mistakes in patterns because visually it kind of plays tricks on your eye. So if you were to look at my picture really quickly, you'd say, oh, all those tulips look the same, until you really get a close look at it. And you can see, well, they're not perfect. But because I used a pattern, it gives the illusion of repetitiveness. Don't forget those little triangles, little diamonds. Okie dokie. So next I'm going to go ahead and use my green. And we're going to use green to fill in everything that's not tulips that's in this foreground and background. So underneath our bear, that's all going to be green. In between the tulips, that's all going to be green. We don't even need to give our tulip stems. unnecessary. People know what we're trying to say. And that's the interesting thing about art. You don't always have to be literal for people to understand what you're trying to communicate. That's something that I enjoy about art. It's like speaking another language. Hopefully you can speak my language right now. The language of art. I hope I forgot a spot on my tulips. And I have a foot right there. And you color in the leaves this time because the leaves are going to be green. Don't color your bear. Your bear is going to be brown. I can understand that this could be a little complicated. There are a lot of lines, a lot of things to follow, but hang in there. And if you make a mistake, don't worry about it. Remember the trick I showed you? You could just trace your work and do it again. Practice makes perfect. I wish I could pull up the practice bears that I drew before I drew this bear so you guys can see. This wasn't the first bear I drew. Get all the way to the edge of the paper. Okie dokie. So there, we're done with our green. So we put the green away. Let's do the brown. So the dark brown is for the dark areas of the bear. So that's going to be his head, but not his muzzle. Or let's reverse this. So let's do the light brown first. So the light brown is going to be his muzzle, the inside of his ears, the inside of his arms, and his belly. And I forgot I wanted to give him a belly button. Belly button. There we go. So we're going to start by coloring his muzzle, but not his nose. We're going to color his nose black. Don't press too hard because it might be difficult to maintain that pressure, and it's easier on your hand and wrist if you don't press too hard. You could turn the page to color more comfortably. I just keep the page the same direction so it's easier for you guys. And then the inside of his ears. Inside of his arms. His belly. Does your teddy bear eat lots of honey like Winnie the Pooh? Or does he steal picnic baskets like Yogi the Bear? What kind of teddy bear is your teddy bear? I liked Yogi the Bear because he'd say, "Hey, hey, boo boo, are you gonna steal a picnic basket?" And it was just hilarious. So funny. Don't steal picnic baskets, by the way. Don't steal. That's not a good idea. Don't be like Yogi Bear. I think that was the point. You weren't supposed to be like Yogi. Okay, so we're going to use our dark brown now, and we're going to color in all the rest of the bear, except we're not going to color in his eyes or his nose. And like I said, I do it lightly to start out with. You can always make it darker, but once you start dark, you have to do the whole thing dark. So that's why I'm going to start out light. I can always go darker. I mean, wow, wasn't it such a nice day today? I mean, it's still got some of the day to go, but it was nice and warm. I hope you got to go out into the sun for at least a minute, just to enjoy it. It's not too hot yet. It feels like it's going to get there soon, though. I don't know if you're sensitive to the heat or get sunburnt really easily, but I know I have to be careful. Okay, so we did his head. Now we're going to do his body. So all these parts we didn't get with the light brown. Because of the angle I'm holding my pencil, that's what's allowing me to shade big areas at a time, because I've worn down the pencil on that side. And see, it's covering up his body because he's got grass and tulips growing. So there, we colored our bear, and I forgot this little green down here. Now we could do our sky. So we're going to use the blue. What I did for my sky is I used the blue to outline the clouds very lightly over my pencil marks. But you guys should have used a sketching hand, so you should barely be able to see your pencil marks. All right, and I left those white. And I took my yellow pencil and I outlined the part of the sun that goes behind the cloud. I'm going to erase that line in front that goes through the cloud. And then colored in my sun. Yellow sun, yellow flowers. All right, so if you have a little orange, which if I reach across my table, I have some orange right here. You could add a little orange into your sun to make it even more bold. But other than that, you're just going to take your blue and lightly color the background, the sky behind your bear. And I'm holding the pencil very lightly. If you have sky blue, you could just use sky blue. I don't have sky blue. I have blue. So I just go in very lightly. So pencil mark very lightly. And when you're coloring with colored pencils, try to make your strokes all in the same direction. It gives more continuity to the piece. So I don't know if you've noticed, but when I'm coloring, I try to do it all in the same direction. It's okay if you have to switch up directions, but it just sometimes looks better if it's going all in the same direction. There's my blue sky. All right, so final touches. We're going to color in our eyes. We're going to leave a little bit of the pupil white just to do the sun glaring. So we're going to go like that. You see what I did there? Just leave a little bit of it white. Just like that. So you don't color the whole thing in, just a little bit. And I'm actually going to do the same thing on the nose. There's going to be a little glare of light on the nose. Like that. Then I'm also going to take my Sharpie and I'm going to make the bear bold by putting a double outline on the outside of the bear. So I'm not going to do the inside of his head. I'm just going to do the outside like we did with the root beer float. So I'm going to give one more line there. One more line there. If you go too wide, just kind of fill it in. See, that one went too wide. That's okay. Sometimes when you're outlining, you gotta turn the page. So just the outside of the bear. And this one's by Miss Liberty. And hopefully at the end of this, you have a cute little bear in a field full of tulips, pretty yellow tulips, and a blue sky. So hopefully you enjoyed drawing with me today. If you didn't get the video the first time, feel free to watch it over, pause it, slow motion it, fast forward it. The video will be edited on my YouTube in a couple of days. You can still view the unedited videos in the events. So thank you for hanging out with me today and drawing with me, and I hope you have a good afternoon.